Good morning, folks. The time is 6:46 on Saturday the 14th of June. I've not long woken up, hence I probably look and sound extremely tired. But basically, I feel like it's been quite a while since I did a physique check on one of these episodes, so that's how we're going to start today's video. And just for context, my weight has been floating around 191, 192 pounds for about a week now. But I do feel like my physique is changing, so this is what I look like, completely relaxed from the front. Same again from the side. Now I hit the flex from the front. What do you think? Because I feel like I'm looking, again, not lean, but leaner. So that means progress is being made. Yeah, I mean, I can't really complain. I'm getting to that stage now of the cut where I start to feel a little bit flat. I mean, I can tell I've still got muscle on me and I've still got details going through and everything, but generally speaking, I just feel a little bit smaller. That's quite a common thing when you're on a cut. And I don't like that because I like to feel big and muscular. But it is what it is. I chose this, so this is what we've ended up like. I do feel like improvements have been made. So yeah, so far fairly happy. Got one more week to push through, and then a week in Budapest, and then we'll see what happens after that. So that's how we're looking. So we have a few things on the agenda for today. First and foremost, we've got to fuel up because because today's schedule, got a 2-hour workout at Unit 7 this morning. It's the Sweat and Social. It's a bit of a different format. It's kind of like they put us into groups, and essentially it's 2 1-hour workouts back to back, so it's pretty rough. And as if that wasn't enough, about an hour later after that finishes, I've got to get my paddle. So I need to make sure I've got some fuel in me. So that means I've got 2 corn cakes, each with 12 grams of pistachio butter and about 50 grams of banana on each. I'm very much looking forward to these. I'm going to use the scoop of away with 6 grams of creatine. So I'm going to crush these straight away. I'm going to make some electrolytes to take with me for this workout and stuff. And I also need to read the cupboards and fridges to see if there's any food I can take to eat quickly between the workout and paddle, because that will be very beneficial. Anyways, don't have a lot of time to spare, so let me crush this and I'll catch you very soon. Guys, can you believe we're on episode 16? We have uploaded a video every week for like 4 whole months. And it turns out that episode 17 is going to be the last episode of this series, because next Saturday is when the day before I fly to Budapest, but I am travelling down to Birmingham. I was going to stay there a night before catching the flight from Birmingham airport, which is early on Sunday. So next episode, episode 17, is going to be the last one. It's been some journey to say the least. I'm just really proud that I've managed to keep up with you know, uploading every single week, because it's been tough, but I'm extremely glad that I've done it. Anyways, just pulled up to the gym. Honestly, I feel quite under recovered. I was quite hot, so I didn't sleep as well as I would have liked to last night. I've also trained literally Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the whole 4 days leading up to today, and I played paddle on Thursday as well. So I've trained a lot. My body is definitely feeling it, but I've been eating good to try and make sure that I, you know, feel in tip-top shape for today, and then a well-earned day of rest tomorrow. We also find out who won the Summer 7 competition today, although because it's such a big group workout, I don't want to go in there with my camera, so obviously I'll update you with what happens, but I won't be filming any of today. But wish me luck. I'm gonna get in there and start getting warmed up and breathe. So you know the way I was saying it was 2 workouts back to back. It wasn't 2, it was 3. It was 3 workouts in 2 hours, and it was rough. I'm so proud of myself for getting through that, because like this kind of training, it's more like, you know, cardio based, functional. I mean, there is some strength stuff in there, but even then it's in a cardio format, and it's sort of ridiculous, like, you know, time caps and that kind of thing, and it's just so horrendous. It's nothing like I'm used to. So proud of myself for getting through it today. In terms of the competition, I placed 3rd, which honestly I am super happy with. As I say, you know, wasn't too bothered about the prizes. I just wanted to give it 100% and make sure that I left everything on the table, and I'm certain that I did that. Gained 6 points on my body score, gained muscle, lost fat, can't complain, can't have done any more. And to be honest, I kind of knew there was going to be at least one more person who, you know, lost more fat, gained more muscle. That's just the way this goes. Fantastic start to the weekend, and to be fair, we finished a bit early. It's 10:51 and paddle's not till 12:30. So I'm actually going to get myself home and have some food and just like rest a bit before we go, because I feel like I need some carbs in me. Guys, I'm being picked up in like 15 minutes, and I'm just so dead. I'm just laying in my bed and just don't really fancy moving at all. However, this is what I signed up for, and also paddle is life now, so we gotta play. I didn't film it, but I got back, had myself another banana and just an Aldi frozen ready meal, the protein ones, and yeah, I just needed some carbs, needed some food, needed some fuel, but my body is screaming at me right now. Just gotta get through this last game of paddle, and then we're done with physical activity until Monday. Yeah, Monday. Wish me luck, guys. It's gonna be a tough game. Okay folks, so this part of the video is probably going to be the longest part of the video, and it's not really anything to do with the summer shred, but it does address the title and it's kind of relevant for this channel moving forwards and what you might see in it, so I figured it was important to talk about. So basically this week I made quite a big decision. Let me just set the scene first, just so you can kind of like get a holistic idea of what's going on here. I'm 33 years old now, and throughout my 20s I had kind of like, thankfully I only got serious once, but you know, throughout my 20s I did, you know, have a couple of like little kind of like battles with mental health, and I figured that because it's Men's Mental Health Month as well, it's probably a good time to talk about this as well. Thankfully, it only ever got serious once during lockdown. Thankfully, you know, everything turned out okay. And again, I want to say that, like, you know, since I turned 30 and I started taking my life a bit more seriously, you know, got myself into shape at the age of 30, got myself got my career on track at the age of 30. A lot of good things have happened in my 30s, and I can very confidently say that even though I'm only 3 years into my 30s, these have been the best years of my life by quite some distance. They quite far trump, you know, my 20s, I would say, already, for several reasons. I think a large part of that is the fact that, you know, I feel like since I turned 30, my battles with mental health have kind of like basically gone away. Thankfully, you know, touch wood, I haven't really had any kind of like brushes with it. Yeah, I've had the occasional kind of like bout of, you know, I think a lot of men can relate to having the clouds just come over the head every now and then, and life can sometimes deal you a rough hand, and sometimes that can get tough, but you know, nothing like what I dealt with previously. But something that I definitely can't ignore is that, you know, since I turned 30, I've noticed some changes within myself as well. I've noticed that, you know, where I used to have these phases where I just felt like indestructible, I used to feel unbeatable, and I just used to wake up every day with the biggest I'm ready to go get this attitude ever. Largely, you know, I am a hard worker. I like to pride myself in being a hard worker. I can still function, I can still wake up in the mornings, I can still do my early starts, I can still do my work, but that feeling when I get up hasn't really been there for quite a long time. My base level mood, although generally I'm quite a positive, optimistic, happy person, my general mood to a lot of things has just been a bit meh. I've noticed this for the past, you know, 2 to 3 years. Again, nothing to do with mental health struggles, thankfully, but it does definitely, you know, affect my baseline kind of like attitude towards things, my mood. I guess a good way for me to put it is that I just feel like kind of like I've lost the sense of feeling like me, because I know that me by default is a very kind of like, you know, I want to go and do things. I want to like really grab my day by the horns and like, you know, take it in the direction that I want it to go in kind of thing. I've always been that kind of person, but I haven't really felt that recently, and you know, that is something that I think about. I keep asking myself, okay, well, what's different about my life now? Is my home life causing me any issues? Because it's not. Is my personal life causing me any issues? No, it's not. Is my career and work causing me any issues? No, they're not. If anything, I feel like I've got a way better sense of who my close friends are. I'm on a good trajectory with my career, good people around me. I've got hobbies that I genuinely enjoy and look forward to, and I'm a part of some communities as well, so that gives me that kind of community spirit kind of feeling as well. And I get that from Unit 7, the gym that I go to. I get that from paddle, which is more a recent thing, but it's definitely becoming a bigger part of my life. I get that from martial arts, which although I haven't been training very much recently, I'm still very much a part of. So it's tough for me to pinpoint where this has come from. And when I really started to notice this was when I went on a cut in 2022 and I got quite shredded. Admittedly, I took it quite far. Probably shouldn't have taken it as far as I did. But that was when I started to think, okay, I need to do something about this, because I can't think of anything that's causing me to feel like this, but I can definitely feel it. So I went to the doctor and asked for a blood test to test my testosterone levels, because I started to suspect that I was a little bit low. Now, I didn't know anything about testosterone testing like in the NHS before I did this. I just kind of like thought it was the most logical route for me to go to my GP, tell them what was going on, and tell them that I was suspecting that I might have low testosterone, and get the blood work to, you know, test if that was the case. Did the test. Doctors didn't even contact me for about 2 weeks, so I called them and I was like, hey, I'm just following up on that blood test, and They checked their system. They're like, oh yeah, everything came back fine, bye, and that was it. And I didn't think anything of it. I just kind of assumed that that was that. I assumed that I was wrong, and I assumed that it must be something else. But I've never been able to shake the thought that that is still very much the case for me, because I think the symptoms, given that I can't think of anything else that could be causing me to feel how I feel like it's a plausible route for me to kind of like go down, and it's a plausible thing for me to consider for myself. And so some time passed and I just left it, because I thought the NHS diagnosis was just valid, and I just kind of left it. But the more I researched it, because I just wasn't prepared to let it slide, I kept on researching it, and it turns out the NHS guidelines probably aren't the most reliable when it comes to this thing. And that was when I entered the rabbit hole of looking into specialized clinics who, diagnose these things and offer treatment in the form of TRT, HCG, those kind of things. So I started looking into them. To me, they made a fair amount of sense, but I never pulled the trigger. It's a big decision, it's a lifelong commitment. If you want to protect your fertility, which I do, it does mean you have to take other medications as well. And so although I thought it might be a viable option for me, again, I left it for quite a while. Since then, I've noticed that quite a lot of people who I very much admire and respect have been talking about it, and it turns out that they are on TRT. That's something that they are actively doing, and they always seem to have such great things to say about it. They always talk about how it's kind of like flipped a switch where they thought they were always fatigued, but now they've just got all this energy back. They wake up and have this attitude, they want to just go and attack their day like they used to, but kind of lost their way with that. That's definitely something that resonated with me. Recovery from workouts seems to be much quicker, and I've noticed, I think I've mentioned that on this channel before, recovery for me from workouts now is definitely taking a day or two longer than it used to. And a common denominator in what I'm seeing is that people say that it just makes them feel like them again, and that is again something that resonates very deeply with me. So this past week I watched James Smith's video talking about his first year on TRT. Maybe you've seen that video. If you have not, then I would recommend that you do so. And I feel like that video was speaking to me directly. I really liked James Smith's approach, talking about, even if you don't end up on TRT, the best possible outcome is for men to just get a blood test from a reputable clinic who deals with this kind of thing, like as a specialty, and just explore the option, see if it is something that you even need. So that's exactly what I've done. I actually pulled the trigger and ordered a blood test, and I figured that the least I can do is just get tested and see if this is actually a viable option for me. If it's something that I need, and talk to someone who's like a specialist in this topic. And the blood test is actually right there on my desk, and I'm going to perform that on Thursday this coming week. They've asked for me to do it on a specific day. I'll have my results within 48 hours, and maybe I'll have them in time to talk about them in my next video. So there is every possibility that, within the next 2 to 3 months, I could be on TRT. It might not happen. My bloods might end up coming back fine, and it might just all be in my head. And if that's the case, then I've just got to deal with it and crack on. But it might also be the case that my suspicions about what's going on with me have been correct this entire time, and that is something that I just have to explore. If it turns out that I haven't been running on all cylinders as well as I could have been, I know I'm going to be absolutely gutted, and I'm probably going to end up wishing that I looked into this sooner and just listened to my gut a bit more. I have always thought that at some stage in my life I will end up on TRT. I'll probably want that for myself. I always thought in my head that it'll be after I have kids, if that happens. But the more I think about it and the more I feel the way I feel, I just think that it's not good for me to wait. I feel like I should pursue this now. And while I'm still relatively young at 33, I'm still very active, and I feel like the potential benefits for me of going on TRT can be absolutely huge. And I want to make one thing very clear: I'm not doing this for aesthetics, I'm not doing this for gym progress, I'm not doing it for any of that. I'm doing it for the real quality of life gains. I'm doing it because I want to feel properly like me again. And there's nothing wrong with me now. As I said, I can wake up, I can work, I can train, I can do all of these things, but I do feel like I'm operating with a parachute attached to me, which is just slowing me down. So the thought of having that parachute cut from me and being able to move at the pace that I would like to is actually extremely appealing. So moving forwards, I will be talking more about this topic. I will be documenting the process as we go. And if you're a man watching this and you kind of resonate with what I've been saying, I would urge you to do the same. Take that step, get the test. That's the minimum thing. Like it could just be you do the test and that's it. That could be you done. But you'll never know if you don't do that test. So guys, if you can resonate at all with what I've been saying, I would urge you to look into it as well. Anyways, I'm very aware that this clip has been extremely long, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that there. Time is now 20 to 7 in the evening. I'm just going to go cook some dinner and chill for the rest of the night because I am absolutely done in. But yeah, seeing as I'm doing YouTube and I want to do this for a long time, I know that the best policy is for me to just be open and honest with you and just be my most authentic self. So that's exactly what I'm doing. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Episode 16 is officially in the books. 4 months of weekly uploads. Who would have thought it? The next episode you see is going to be the very last one of the series. So make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with the rest of the series. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.